Hi, everyone. I'm Patricia Mona, and I wanted to hop on here tonight and just talk about spiritual warfare for a minute and what's going on out there in the world today. There's a lot of fear that is flooding the earth plane right now and a lot of uncertainty. And when we're scared of what we can't see and we're scared of each other and we're told to stand 6 feet apart, there is an energy to that. It depletes our soul. It leaves room for depression, anxiety, all of the nastiness uh, that we're really feeling, the heaviness that we're feeling in the world. And it starts with our thoughts. It starts with sitting in a space of fear, playing the what if game. I can't tell you guys how dangerous the what if game is right now. And as humans, we tend to play it quite a bit. And so if you are reaching into tomorrow and it's filled with anxiety, or you're hanging on to memories of the past that you just can't let go of, right now it's going to be amplified because the energy on the planet is it's raising. It's totally rising, and we can feel it. You can literally feel it coming off of people as you walk near them, and especially now that we're doing holiday shopping, it's an energy that people are bringing to the table. So I wanted to talk about the different ways that we can protect ourselves through this time, because when we're needing to go and do Christmas shopping for our family, or even going out, into the grocery stores, how do you protect yourself against the energy that's floating out there? So, one of the ways I'm going to talk about a few of the ways I protect myself. One, prayer. That is my number one shield of armor before I start my day, before I go out anywhere, or even start a reading. I say a prayer and I ask for the highest level of protection and for God's words to flow through me. Let me be an instrument of your peace. Let me speak what needs uplifting, and then the words just tend to flow. So if I were you, start your day in that state of grace and either meditate even for 10 minutes before you start your day, or say a prayer, and I'm not talking religion here. This isn't what I'm talking about. I don't care what religion a person is. It isn't about that. It's about a connection to a higher power that gives you the ideas, the perfect set of ideas that you need in that moment in time, so that you can face the world with your best face forward, right? And move on your path. It just comes, it naturally unfolds, and you tend to magnetize to the miracles that are all around you when you're in alignment with that higher mind. That stream, that frequency, it literally is like a broadcast system that you can align yourself with. And all of a sudden, your words, they literally are the perfect words in that moment. So prayer does that for me. Prayer puts me back into alignment with source. And but I have to tell you, so I was just discussing with a girlfriend of mine about the power of prayer. And I got to tell you, you got to come in that state of faith, not fear. If we're praying in a state of fear, it's almost like a distortion on the words that you're saying, because a prayer is supposed to elicit faith, it's supposed to elicit peace. But if the words that we're saying are not in alignment with the vibration of peace, it's almost like the words aren't necessarily heard. So, piece of advice, bring yourself into alignment. Bring yourself into a clearer state of peace. Then pray and ask for those miracles and watch them flood in. We have to align ourselves with that vibration first. And then it comes, and then the faith comes, and the strength comes, and the armor comes, and nothing can drag you down or get through. And I got to tell you, psychic attacks are also at an all-time high right now because the energy is being amplified on the earth, and 90% of the population is in that state of fear. It's opening up lower dimensional realities. It's you got to remember, we're creating timelines with each breath we take, each choice that we make. We're literally creating timelines here, and timelines for people that we may never even meet, like our great 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 grandchildren, for example. We're creating their world right now, and we're creating it by what we're tolerating, what we're accepting, and the actions that we are absolutely responsible for. So before you leave your home, put on the armor of God, ask for protection, and just imagine yourself cloaked in a veil of pure light that nothing dark can penetrate. And I promise you, all of a sudden you'll feel that force field of angelic energy, that strength that comes when you call upon that high level of protection. So definitely ask and you shall receive, because it's needed here right now, you guys. And I think over the holidays, it's a trigger for a lot of people. There's a lot of people sitting in depression and anxiety. And for any wives out there that are watching this, you guys, we got to support our men. We have to be that soft place to land and come from a place of understanding, because men like to fix things. And right now, I think everybody would love to fix the reality that we're in. And I notice that men tend to shove things down a lot more and not express themselves the way, us women do with each other. So build that bridge, open those lines of communication, because I would say out of, the population, it's men that are being readily attacked right now, left, right, and center in the spiritual world. I've seen quite the heaviness around men lately, and so just pray for them. Whether it's your dad, your brother, your husband, your neighbor, you guys. If you see heaviness on someone, stop and be the light in their day. Lift someone however you can. We have to spread light right now. We have been brought here, activated to make a difference at this time. And I think that that's why there's so many people that are saying, I've been going through the hugest spiritual awakening. There's a lot of awakening energy that is happening right now. And spiritual awakenings are not usually pretty. It's the snotty balling on the floor, because it's letting go of everything that you thought you were here to be and do, right? It's a whole brand new you that is lit from the inside out when you go through it. But growth is never fun, right? Think of the caterpillar going into the cocoon. How much pain, even neurologically, must that little creature feel when he turns from a caterpillar to a butterfly? But it's essential. It's totally essential. So there's a lot of spiritual growth that's happening right now, and we have to be patient for the ones who don't understand what's necessarily going on right now. So everything is energy. Everything is vibration. And one of the easiest, quickest ways to raise your vibration is to close your eyes and just visualize every pore on your body opening up, and call on the light of God, call on your angels, and just see golden light pouring down all around you, and just breathe it in through every pore in your body. Breathe it into the center through the muscles and layers and tissues, and ignite yourself. Really see yourself glowing from the inside out, because pretty quick that energy will switch and you will feel the glow. You might even feel the tingles all over your hands and on the crown of your head when it happens, because there actually is a visceral response to the energetic shift that you will feel when you call on that light. The other thing that I wanted to point out, I've been teaching a lot of remote viewing lately, and I don't know if you guys realize how easy it actually is. Let me introduce you to a different dimension. So, wherever you are right now, just close your eyes. Take a moment, just take a big, deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. And wherever you are right now, I want you to bring yourself to the kitchen in your home, in your mind's eye. I want you to see yourself standing in front of a sink, in front of your sink. Maybe turn on the faucet and feel the water running under your hands. Turn it off. Dry your hands on the towel. And just look around your kitchen with your eyes closed. Next, I want you to take yourself into your bedroom. See yourself standing at the end of your bed and just look around. Notice what's on the floor. Notice where your closet is or the window. Now bring your awareness back to me. Whether you realize it or not, you literally just went into the fifth dimension. So anything that takes our consciousness out of this now moment takes us into a different reality, takes us into a different dimension. And the easier that you can visualize yourself standing in front of your kitchen sink and then going into your bedroom and looking around your room, seeing what's on the floor, that's literally remote viewing. It's entering a different dimension of reality because it took you from this now moment. It is that easy to go interdimensional. It's just, we do it all the time. We just think, okay, I'm just remembering what my kitchen looks like. I'm just remembering what my bedroom looks like. Well, it's the same way if we close our eyes and we visualize eating an apple. Our body will actually respond to the memory of a juicy sweet apple or of a sour green one. It's the memories, it's the cellular memories. There's energy to that, right? It's how your body registers a memory. Well, there's, how do I explain this? I was going somewhere with this. All of these memories that are within you, it's all part of the matrix. It's all recorded, not just within your body and your memory. Anything and everything that you remember is recorded in the matrix. Every action, every bite of an apple, every time you've gone to sleep, and every dream you've ever had, it's recorded. And when you learn to take yourself out of this dimension into another one, everything starts to open up and you have greater access to your soul's path, your book that contains your past, present, and future. It's all there in different dimensions of reality, right? If you've never had an outer body experience, or if you've never astral traveled, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around it. But trust me, this is not the only dimension that you exist within. And right now, there are so many realms and dimensions opened through people's memories, through people's energy, right? Because we are all one. We are a book within a huger book, within a bigger book, right? And each and every one of us has access to this information right now, more so than ever. And that is why we're being flooded with energy that's we don't understand. Dreams are getting a lot more deeper and vivid. Sensations that there's someone's in the room with you, but you can't necessarily feel it. It's you're going to have more of that. You're going to be experiencing, especially over these next 2 to 3 years, we've got quite the realms open to us. And it's where we're vibrating at personally is what we're going to draw into this dimension. Because trust me when I say there are beings in these lower dimensions that would love to come in through you and wreak havoc in this dimension. And then there are beings that just want to heal the planet. That when you align your energy with that unconditional love and that frequency of creation, you become the creationist. You become a source of inspiration for other people to create within this reality. And that's what we need. We need creators that are willing to stand in their truth, willing to speak their truth, and to stand for another person's truth. It really doesn't matter what side of the fence that you're on. We're all one. We're all one. And what you do to the least of us, you do to the most of us, whether we realize it or not. And everything does come full circle. What we're experiencing right now, it's, trust me when I say everything is being recorded. So I'll explain, let me explain karma from what Spirit has shown me. When we pass and we go through the veil, we do go through a life review. But what a lot of people who've had a near-death experience don't necessarily emphasize is what that looks like. It's not that we are reliving it through our eyes or on a big screen, TV while we're eating popcorn, watching what we did in life. No, all of it is recorded, all of it. And we see it through the eyes, the ears, the feeling, sensations, all of it. Experiences of every single person that we've ever come into contact with. If I talk to you for 2 seconds, I'm going to hear myself talk to you for 2 seconds. If I raise you up and I have an amazing influence on your life, I will feel that ripple effect as if I am you and you are me. I will see it through your eyes. If I physically harm you, I'll see my own fists flying at myself. And the only way to eradicate that or erase that from the matrix is through forgiveness. We are in control of our destiny. And right now there is so much division and anger out there that's happening that I just shake my head at the reality that we're creating. Like, I don't even understand human beings right now. So this is where we have to come back to that place of unconditional love and take the time to connect with people heart to heart. There's a lot of people that are struggling through this time right now. And yes, it's choices, it's all of that, but it's also energy and what we're allowing into our fields. It really is, because our thoughts become our actions become our reality, 100%. And if our thoughts are in alignment with lower dimensional entities or realities, what do you think is going to work through us, right? But if we're working with the divine will of God, that's what we're flooding this earth plane with. And I believe wholeheartedly that's what we're here to do. We're here to make a difference, you guys. So no matter how hard it gets throughout your day, be the light, be the light, be the light. Whoever is coming at you with crappy energy, that's on them. But what you do with it is what matters the most. Are you going to help transmute that and send them love, or are you going to feed into it so it becomes a ping pong battle of energy, right? So I'm going to get to some of the comments on here. Oh, you're so welcome. Okay, so Rick asked, how can we protect ourselves while remote viewing? Well, the first thing I do, I shield myself in golden Christ consciousness light. I ask for my warrior angels to guard, guide, and protect me. I don't even go to sleep without asking for protection and putting on that armor of God. And it really does matter what vibration that you're saying the prayer in. If you're in that space of fear, going, please God, help me, please God, it's distortion in the field. But if I am in that place of complete surrender to the divine will, to my path that I pre-wrote before I even got here. You guys, that's what deja vu is. It literally is. It's that glimpse inside of your timeline and the remembrance of, oh, I remember reading that in my story. I remember that part in my book. It's that, right? So I ask for the highest level of divine protection. I bring in my warrior angels, and then I go to sleep. Then I remote view. Right? If I'm remote viewing when I'm awake, I'm in charge of where I go. I'm in charge. But sometimes I'll catch myself astral traveling in the middle of the night, and you don't realize you're going to do it until you're there in another dimension going, oh, I'm awake. I'm aware. I know I'm out of my body. So before I even go to sleep, I put on my astral projection protection and then I go to sleep, because I often will fall asleep to binaural beats that help me get into that theta state so that I can astral project as I'm falling asleep. So I will, and you know what? I'll put a link up to it. If you guys are interested in deepening your level of remote viewing or astral projection or outer body experiences, yeah, I'll put up the link in the description and give it a shot. Fall asleep to them. I bet you anything, before you know it, you'll be seeing other dimensions and visiting places. It's pretty cool. Okay, how does someone remote view a place they've never been to, like when you do it? So what I do is I literally allow my mind to go blank, and I will feel into the target. And I know that the information will come at me in the form of a feeling, in the form of a little tiny glimpse. It's, if I'm doing a blind target, I literally project my consciousness towards the blind target. I ask to be shown it, and then all of a sudden bits and pieces start pouring in. If I'm working on a missing person case and I'm remote viewing, a victim or a perpetrator, I am actually tuning in to their energetic signature that is unique to them. Each and every one of us have our own unique resonance. And what that resonance is comprised of is every thought you've ever had, every experience you've ever had, illnesses, what you eat, how you sleep, everything about you is a frequency. And frequencies are loaded with information. So if you know how to be able to read the energy of a person, place, or thing, and to be able to interpret what you're feeling coming off of that target, it's easy peasy. It gets like this, and it becomes super easy to drop a pin and go, oh, this is where you're going to be able to find that missing person, because I can feel their resonance right there. It's like a scene that just opens up when you direct your consciousness to that energetic signature of the target. I hope that makes sense. And there is a way to actually even merge consciousness with a target. It's very, very easy to do it. If you've ever been in love, for example, love is a frequency. Love is a vibration. And you can tell when someone's in love, we call it puppy love when we're in the teenage years. And the reason why puppy love is so much more, you can feel it. It's super strong. It's that ripple of, just almost euphoric ecstasy that goes through your body when it's puppy love, right? That passion that bursts within you. That is a frequency that emits an energetic charge off of a person. Well, when two people are in love, a lot of the time they're on the same wavelength. So if you know a person's energetic signature, you know them, you can look at them, you know what they're thinking when you're looking at them, you know what they're feeling just by looking at them. That's a frequency. That's an energetic being on the same wavelength. Well, it's super easy to be able to almost see through the eyes of someone that you love very deeply, because love is a carrier frequency, and carrier frequencies are loaded with information. So if you know how to merge minds, you can literally look through a loved one's eyes. And I'm sure I can confuse a bunch of you guys out there. There's a little bit more to it than that. But it is all about energetic resonance. The other thing that I wanted to mention, without sounding a little too nutty, is the energy grid that is on us. Let me explain that. So, when you're falling asleep and you kind of jerk, right? That startle reflex. Well, that startle reflex is actually you starting to come out of you and then getting jolted back in. For anyone who has astral projected like on purpose and doing it while you're awake, not while you're asleep, what happens is your whole body starts to tingle, starts to vibrate, starts to feel really fuzzy. And for me, I could even hear it. It sounded almost like white noise, or fuzzy, radio static is what it sounded like. There was actual sensations that went with me coming out of my body. It felt like I was literally starting to sit up and peel out of my body. And so it's the startle reflex that actually keeps us in our body, in the prison of the grid of our body. And that's why that sensation in a roller coaster, when you're going up and then you go all the way to the top of the roller coaster, you know what I see when I see people on a roller coaster? I see the spirit of them rising just that little bit higher than them and then getting slammed into their body. And that's why it feels like that falling sensation. Well, if you've ever had the dream of falling or flying, you're actually astral traveling and getting slammed back into your body in that moment, right? And that's why you kind of go and have that startle reflex. Well, the reason why babies sleep so much after they're born is because the soul integration for the soul is huge. It takes up a whole room. The soul is massive. So to shove a huge soul inside this little tiny body, it actually takes about 3 years before a child's soul is fully inside of their body. That's why babies, when they're sleeping, their startle reflex, you see them flinching all the time because their soul's actually going like this, waving in and out of their body. And that's what it feels like. Think of the elevator, right? When you're going up like this, that's exactly what it feels like when the spirit is kind of lifting above the body. So it's the same thing when someone is dying. If you've ever watched someone pass away, they sleep a lot. Why is that? Because the transition from the body to coming out is also big, heavy duty work and it takes a lot of energy. So it's the reason why I'm mentioning this. The grid around the body. Hold on, let me get back to the kids for a second. So children don't actually start to form memories until around 2, the earliest, 3, 4 sometimes. And the reason why is because, like I said, the soul is not fully in the body yet. So they can't retain that, we'll say I'm now Patricia Mona instead of John Smith, right? And if you think about when babies they're held, they're cuddled, they're fed, they're warm, they're everything, but they still cry. Did you ever stop to think, are you crying for your past life? What are you crying for? That you woke up and realized, oh my God, I'm Patricia Mona. Oh God, this crap again, right? And then you forget that life the more you grow into who you are on this side of the veil. But souls are endless, you guys. There's no such thing as death. Maybe peeling out of our body, right? The vehicle, but no. There's a whole other life to be lived in all of these other dimensions. And so there is a grid around the body that you have to move past. It's a higher frequency that you have to basically, through meditation and through using binaural beats, there are different ways to be able to move past that grid so that you can astral travel easier. So I know I went a little bit off topic there, but for some reason you guys had to hear that. Oh, it's so good to see you guys all online. Hi, Anna. Thank you so much for jumping on. Thank you, guys. Okay, so Laura says, are we going through a matrix, if that makes sense? I feel like I am at times, like things come in and out. Absolutely, we are. And I got to tell you, time is speeding up. That's why it's like you blink and you're back in bed again. It's all just an illusion. I cannot stress that to you enough. The more I do this work and look into people's altered realities all the time, the more I realize what an illusion this place is. We are all living on the same planet, but yet experiencing such vastly different experiences, right? And so, trust me when I say this reality, it's going to feel more like a dream when we're out of it than the other side feels. That will feel more real than what we remember of this place. So trust me, we're only here for a short time, not a long time. Thank God. I'm okay with that. Okay. Is imagination another form of astral projection? No. That's what I thought too. No, it's not. It's not using your active imagination. Remote viewing is. Remote viewing, when you're in your body, it's literally waiting to download the information. And that feels like you're using your imagination. But no, astral projection is actually you coming out of you, going and seeing things. And trust me, like you, for me, I've waved my arms through the wall. You feel the density of the wall. Even when I was raising up and going through the ceiling, I could see the joists in the ceiling. I could see the attic and the insulation and everything. Like it is, you feel the different densities when you're waving your arm through a person or through a wall. And that's what I mean. It's all different frequencies. And at really on a molecular level, everything in front of us is just vibrating space, 99.999% space, right? So it makes sense that since everything is a frequency, what is actually real in this reality? And when you come out of your body, little things that I noticed was I didn't see my hands. I tried looking at my hands. I didn't see hands. I didn't see the bridge of my nose or my hair. It's almost like 360-degree sight. Um, you think, you travel at the speed of thought. Here's the other thing. I know this sounds really weird, but I've actually taught people in my sleep how to astral project. I remember teaching a group of people, and I'm standing in the middle going, look, guys, all you have to do is think up and you float up. Think down and you float down. And it's true. You direct your perception, you move at the speed of thought. And I remember the very first time I astral projected, as I was coming out of my body, I was thinking to myself, oh my God, Paul Elder, the teacher who taught me how to do this at the Monroe Institute, like, he's right. I have done this before. This does feel natural. Where have I done this before? I asked a simple question. Next thing I knew, I was stuck to the ceiling of my childhood home, looking down on the living room. And it makes me think to myself, because the orange shag rug carpet was still there. My parents' furniture was still there. I saw it like I was floating on the ceiling of my childhood home and nothing had changed. So I think to myself, okay, I stepped into a dimension back in time that's obviously recorded, right? But how many times was I that child sitting on my couch in the living room and I could feel a presence in the house with me, in the room with me? I could literally feel someone staring at me from the ceiling. Was that me? Did I go back in time and check on my younger self? That stuff's what keeps me awake at night, wondering that stuff. Because there's no such thing as space and time in that dimension. There really isn't. You travel at the speed of thought. And the furniture obviously is not there anymore. So, but it was identical to what I saw, what we lived in as a child. So, yeah. Hi, Bella. Great to have you on. Okay, Vanessa says, can't seem to astral travel past my bedroom ceiling. Command it. Literally push your thoughts through the ceiling and go up higher. Visualize yourself amongst the stars or above the rooftops and see the chimney stack below you. Before you know it, you'll actually be hovering above the roof. And then from there, you can really direct your consciousness anywhere. Hi, Carrie. It's great to see you too. Hi, Melina. Have you ever seen another person astral traveling while you were? If so, what was that like? Good question. Yes. Okay. So, yes. The very first time I astral projected, I was trying to do it on purpose. I was listening to the binaural beats from the Monroe Institute, and I was laying in my bed. And as I was peeling out of my body, I came and I felt like I was floating around the bed, and I went down the stairs, and my son was actually, it was like 12:30 at night. And my son was standing in the kitchen with the fridge open. He was looking through the fridge. And so I started waving my arms through him, and I could literally feel my arms going through my kid as I'm going, Alex, look at me. Oh my God, look at me, look at me, look at me. And he couldn't feel me or see me because he's in this dimension while I'm out of my body, waving my arms through him. And, but I saw him. And then he shut off the light and closed the fridge, didn't end up getting anything, shut off the light, and then went back to his room. And so I tried turning the light on without thinking. I'm out of my body. And I could literally feel my arm go through the wall. So I've actually astral traveled into the earthly dimension where it was live time. Because in the morning, I asked my son, I'm like, were you up? Did you go to the fridge at 12:30 at night? And bada boom, bada bing, he was there. And it was the craziest thing because I knew that I was actually waving my arms through him in earthly time, even though I was out of my body. Now, have I traveled to other dimensions and see other people? Yes, I have. Have I conversed with them? It's very telepathic. It's extremely telepathic. You don't actually move your mouth. It's by thoughts. When you're out of your body, the language of spirit is thought form. It's literally thought form. So all you parents out there, the greatest things that you can do for your kids is teach them to have an overactive imagination. Ask them to describe things to you. Like my mom used to read my brother and I books that didn't have pictures in them. And I hated it as a kid, but thank God she did that for me because it got me to visualize who the characters were. What did they look like? She would ask me, what does their house look like? You know, what does the outside look like? Visualize it, and then tell me what it looks like. And just that little choice for my mom made such a massive difference in how deep I can go with visualization. And it's not using your overactive imagination. It's how I found 30 missing people, because you can literally direct your mind's eye to the target and be able to tune in and get accurate information if you know what you're looking for in the quantum field. So it works. Teach your kids to see with this eye instead of these ones. And it's opening up their psychic centers. So, okay, Crystal says, any predictions regarding solstice and beyond? Okay, so I still feel like the energy is mounting. I know you said we know we are almost beyond this period. Yes, absolutely. But it's still mounting. It still feels like it's mounting. So when it comes to predictions of the world, I gotta say, I think that our governments have made some very poor choices, very poor decisions, and there will be huge ripple effects because of that. I think it's a really good idea to make sure that you are stocked up in whatever you can't live without, and to know who your people are, know who your family is. Doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. I'm not talking politics. I'm talking there's something going down in the air, and we can all feel it. And it doesn't feel like we're past it yet. Now, with that being said, the other thing that my guides have been telling me is stay out of fear. Don't even entertain it. And whatever does bring you fear, turn it off, step out of it. We all have choices here. Let's protect those choices and make them while we can. And stay out of anything that elicits fear within you, because it's a vibration, it's a frequency, and sometimes we make poor choices when we're in a state of fear. So it's very important to stay clear-minded, clear-headed, and head down, head straight ahead, and do what we got to do to get through this time and to be there for each other. We need hugs. We need constant contact. We need that. We need love. So, yeah, bring that into your life in any way that you can right now. It's important that you get your fill on that. Okay. Good question. Can you remote view the Earth from outer space, or at least Antarctica? I heard there's unexplored land. Yes, there is. I was asked by one of the producers on Gaia TV to remote view Antarctica. And I got to tell you, there's pyramids up there. I saw pyramids up there. And so I think that there's a lot of unexplored territory that the governments don't want us knowing about, and could be hidden ancient technology as well. This world has been seeded by so many different civilizations on it that we are just one race at this time that we are experiencing the earth in this reality. But I truly believe that there has been so many races that came before us, that a lot of them were a lot more spiritually connected than we are. And I think they were way more in alignment, even with things like the solstices. One of the things that I saw, so I was also asked by Gaia TV to remote view Egypt. And one of the things that I saw was the pyramids were superconductors of energy. And you might be wondering why I'm sitting under a meditation. I made this meditation pyramid. My guides told me and showed me how to make it. So I built it. And I got to say, it has the most amazing high resonance to it. And one of the reasons why I built it was because of the energy behind pyramids and what it does. It's definitely a superconductor. And even underneath the pyramids of Egypt, there's water. There's a water source that's under there. And scientists have proven that it has an extremely high sodium content within the water. Well, sodium is a superconductor and water is conductive. So add that together, as above, so below, and vice versa, right? It's a generator of energy. And I truly believe that certain people who embodied a high resonance had access to different dimensions through these pyramids and through these stargates that could open at certain times of the year, such as the solstices, or when there was specific planetary alignments. I believe that they knew how to work with the frequencies of the earth at that time. So, thank you, Amanda. I've taught my kids that nothing is silly and promote imagination, creativity to strengthen the mind's eye. Amazing. Another little piece of advice for moms and dads out there, if you still got littles, if you can catch them between about the ages of 3 to 5, when they're still kind of hovering on that fence between this realm and that realm, they still have memories of that realm. And when they're old enough to tell you about them, you should ask. Literally, when you're cuddling with your child, or you get them into that nice relaxed state, just ask them, do you remember when I was little and you were big? Who was I to you back then? And they'll start telling you. And it's eerie what they say and how it rings a bell deep within you. So your kid will still remember who they are. It's still right on the surface. They haven't necessarily sunk into the being or the person, the persona that they are in this life yet. They still have the memories of the last one. So ask them about it. Okay. Last night, as I was falling asleep, I saw a mirror. Then I wanted to wake up, but I experienced sleep paralysis. That scared me. Yeah, sleep paralysis it is scary. It's almost when you're it feels like someone's sitting on you, or like you can't open your eyes no matter how hard you try. Yeah, that's happened to me before. And I know a lot of people will think, was that a spiritual attack? Or I don't necessarily think so. I don't believe that, it's negative energy that creates sleep paralysis. I think um, it's the realm of sleep, or the process of sleep, the part that we're in deep enough that everything is relaxed, and no matter how hard we're trying, our mind is still awake, but our body is asleep. And what's interesting is that's the state you need in order to be able to astral project. So you are within a realm, you're awake enough to notice it, but you don't necessarily want to be in that realm. And it's hard to pull yourself out of it. In your mind's eye, just ask for protection, ask to be lifted out of that. If you can command it in your sleep, you'll be able to release it like that. Laura says, do you ask if I was little and you were big? Yeah. If I'm the mom, I'm going to say to my child, tell me all about me when I was little, when I was a kid. Who were you when you were the grown up? Who was I to you? Was I your sister? Was I, you won't have to lead them. Let them tell you the story. But I'm just giving you an example of the stuff that they might say. They might say, yeah, you were my little brother, you're my father, or you were my teacher. It's crazy what they'll come out with when you ask those questions. And ask, what was it like to be inside of my tummy? Do you remember that? Do you remember who you were or who was with you before you were inside mommy's tummy? It's pretty neat what they've got to say when you ask those questions, because they just got here. Okay. Nicole says, I'm curious if you see global ET disclosure happening on a mainstream level. I think yes, eventually it will, because there's so much technology and so many eyes in the skies right now. I think that ETs have been coming into our dimension for millennium. Like, honestly, they're part of the solar system. It's us that's unaware of them. They can cloak, become invisible. They're a frequency. They know how to be able to come out of their bodies, become invisible, cloak themselves in a frequency so that no one can see them. It is literally all about frequency. I mean it. Everything is. And they know that stuff. So I think that since everyone has a camera in their hand, eventually it's going to come out. And I truly believe sooner than later. Now, will our governments continue to lie and bluff it off? I don't know. I think they're getting a little bit more closer to telling the truth than ever before. So, well, we'll see, I guess. Okay. Just reading some of the questions. I have a question. I have a son that's 13. He's a little autistic. I've learned he listens to mantra music. Very cool. He listens to it all the time. Is this good for him? Yes, it is. Those are frequencies, especially the mantras that are for healing frequencies. That's amazing. So I have to tell you, these children that come in that are nonverbal or autistic, or just don't seem to be anchored in our reality, thank God they're not. They emit a higher vibration. I mean it. Children, for example, who are nonverbal, they're here to teach us to get back to our telepathic roots. They are here to teach us how to communicate without having to use the old method. of words and speech, right? So it's because the vibration or the language of spirit, it's feeling, it's energy, um, it's emotion, which is energy in motion. It's not words. And so, um, a child who is autistic, they have a much higher channel open than we do. And so I bet that's just fuel for his soul listening to those mantras. So yeah, no, that's very good. And even if it's said in another language, if the mantra is said in another language, it's great to know what he's saying or what the premise of the mantra is. That's very important, because you're embedding it into your cells. So if it is all about healing and light and spiritual enlightenment and bringing in unconditional love, oh, he's flooding his body every time he listens to that. He's raising the cellular memory and the cellular energy of his whole body, because it's the vibrations of the music and the intention of the music that gets embedded into us when we listen to it. It's just like, and right now, talking about protection, which I was supposed to be talking more about, protect your ears. What you're listening to is a road to your consciousness. So don't be listening to Taylor Swift's pain about her, 10th boyfriend that she's crying over this week, because that will be embedded into your cellular memory if it's one of those catchy tunes that you can't just stop putting on replay. You're literally vibrating to someone else's pain. So be very careful of the music that you're listening to. And if you even think about it, back in, I think it was the 80s or 90s, where there would be these heavy metal bands that would literally embed satanic messages or negative, evil messages backwards into the background of their music. And if you played it backwards, you could actually hear what it was saying. That subliminal messaging and stuff, I'm telling you guys, it gets into your cells. Your body vibrates. What the mind perceives, the body receives. That's why we can think our way into a panic attack or a good mood or bad mood. Our body is constantly listening, right? It's constantly reacting to our thoughts, constantly reacting to the stimuli that's coming in through your five senses. Protect that. Protect that. It influences your health, your mind, everything, right? Think of how powerful songs are. It can get us pumped and ready to hit the gym, or it can make us, into a mushy ball of grief. If that song was around when we lost someone and it represented them, it'll bring you right back to that memory, to that cellular imprint. So guard your consciousness. Don't be listening to stuff that doesn't feed your soul. Your son's smart listening to mantra music. Okay. Okay, Laura, life past life. I heard fallen angels are all evil. So, yeah, I do believe that there is absolute fallen angels out there. There's definitely evil realms that I want nothing to do with. And so that's why, and I know that there's a lot of psychics out there that, um, use different types of divination tools to get their information. Um, I don't know. I know where my information comes from. I know who speaks through me. I know my channel that I'm tuned into. And so I know the angels that I work with. And honestly, I spend a lot of time in prayer. So I don't fall into dimensions that I shouldn't be in. I don't get attacked by dimensional and lower dimensional entities. Um, there's a way to float above all of that stuff so that none of it touches you. You're too light. You're way too light. You're too high calibrated for that crap to even touch my light. Yeah. You got to fuel your body with God's light, God's love, and just allow it to fill every cell in your body. Be the change. That's the other thing. We can imagine all the light entering us that we want, but if we're not walking the walk and doing the work, it's all just preaching from a pulpit. And that's not what I'm getting at. It is this random acts of kindness that's going to change the world. It is, giving someone a hug when their world just fell apart. It's being there for our brothers and sisters of humanity, no matter where they stand on their opinions or beliefs, right? Okay. Okay, do entities have the ability to put implants into you? And if so, why? So, good question. One of the things that I've noticed is there is a pattern or a succession of a psychic attack and how it gets into you. Now, we'll talk about ETs and that for a minute, but let's just talk about negative entities or negative energy. You can call it demonic energy, lower dimensional energy. It's all the same thing. It is what it is. It's entities that have their own will for you. There's no respect for your will, for your life. They just want to come in and mess with you. And how it starts is when someone is being attacked by an entity, I will see their auric field, their natural light, and I'll see a darkness that is kind of stuck to their auric field, almost like a blob of negative energy that is stuck to them. And when I see it stuck in their auric field, I know the symptoms of it. They'll feel clumsy, that feel like they're dropping things, scattered thoughts, scattered energy, vertigo, feeling nauseous, lightheaded, headachy, like they're leaning to one side more. What else? Twitchy. That's the kind of imbalance that these things can, or the impact of the imbalance that these things can do if they're stuck on outside of you on your auric field. Then what I've seen is it slowly seeps in through the auric field. If there's holes in your auric field, this is why it's very important to keep your energy high, keep your energy clean, sweep your auric field. And if you don't know how, all you gotta do is close your eyes and literally imagine a light scanner going down all around you. You're checking your back, you're checking your chest, your front, your arms, your legs, all of it. What feels out of balance? Does it feel like anything is clinging to you? If it does, blast it in the name of God, in the name of love, whatever light source you want to use. Ask it to be removed immediately and get it off of you. Have a light bath, even a salt bath. You want to physically feel the effects of that thing lifting, get yourself into a Himalayan salt bath. Take a cup of Himalayan salt, dump it in there, and just meditate, pray, bring in the light. Salt is one of the purest things one of the things that you can use for purification. It draws out infection. Even as a nurse, if someone would have a bed sore on their heels or on their foot, diabetic ulcer, we would soak them in Epsom salt or Himalayan salt, and it would literally draw out the infection. It does the same thing on a spiritual level. So if anything's stuck in your auric field or even within your body, it's going to be hard to stay in a salt bath. So if you feel attacked or heavy or lopsided, get into a salt bath and say a prayer of light all around you. Now, if it's made its way in through the auric field or even into the mind, it will take on another voice inside of your mind. And it can become multiple personalities, multiple voices that are telling you to do different things or hurt people, hurt yourself, destructive behaviors. That's not you. That's not you. We don't hurt ourselves intentionally unless we're hurting and can't get to the source of our hurt, right? So these things will mess with your thoughts, and it'll feel like you're talking to yourself all day long with the crappiest narrative. I don't want to be here. I hate them. I hate my job. I hate this. I hate that. Hate, 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 hate. That's the main language of those entities. And that's why I say right now, we are full blown spiritual war. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean you can't feel it or experience it, because it's absolutely all around us. It starts in here and in here. And then we emanate a lower frequency. Our actions are crappy. What we say to people is crappy. Our energy is like, oh, I don't want to be around you, or I don't want to be around that person, because you can literally feel the negativity emanating off of them, right? They're entertaining these lower dimensional entities. So that's why it's so important to practice spiritual discernment right now, to raise your vibration up through prayer, through meditation, through grounding, getting out in nature. Go and help someone. Even that raises your vibration. When you feel like you're a hero in someone's world for 5 minutes or 5 seconds, it instantly, you get a boost. You get the reward too, not just that person. That's why it feels so darn good to help someone. It is. It's a karmic reward. And it's even better when we get upstairs. So, yeah, you guys, we got to be the light. And that means even when it's hard, even when it's dark, we're protected. We got this. Trust me. And your people will show up. Miracles will show up all around you. It's just a matter of you aligning your thoughts. Get out of doubt. Fear will eat up your promise of tomorrow. It'll eat up your dreams and completely render you useless and immobile. And it will be paralysis by analysis if we feed the darkness of fear. So step out of that, step into your faith, lean into it. Because you guys, we got this. We got this. The light will always win. Think about it. When has the bad guys ever won? When has truth not come to the surface? There's big truths coming to the surface about off-planet information, about planet that's been buried, or information that's been buried on this planet that higher ups don't necessarily want the world to know. I think that there's going to be a lot of truth coming to the surface. And all I know is that the good guys always win. They do, you guys. This is where we got to have faith. Okay. Cecilia says, could you please share your insight on old souls and young souls? How do we know if we're an old soul or a young soul? Well, think about the progression of, being in this body. A child, when they're taking their first steps, they'll stumble, they'll fall, they'll be reckless. They don't necessarily think about another person's wants or needs. They want their needs addressed, right? A child lives more with the ego, and the id, than it does that place of knowing and sharing and compassion, right? Mine is the young soul or the young child. So no matter how old we grow in our body, if we're a young soul, we have young behaviors, and we don't necessarily learn as quickly as an older soul does. An older soul just instantly knows not to do that. I know not to rob a bank. I know not to kill someone or hurt someone. That doesn't mean that everyone else does, right? So there are certain things that an old soul would just never do. I could not fathom hurting an animal or a child or another human being, for that matter. My level of empathy is do no harm. Come from that place of love and healing, because I know the importance of living every moment, leaving that lasting impression of light. I know how important it is, right? How we live on is in the minds and hearts of every single person that we interact with. I am a memory to you. In this moment, I now am a piece of your memory. And what an honor that is to be, and to be a good one, right? That's what I'm here to do, is become a good memory for you guys. And so that's the difference between a young soul and an old soul. A young soul won't care what kind of impression they leave because they're all about them. And that's it. Okay. Yes, there are. Laura says there's galactic beings watching us now. Yes, there absolutely is. We're never alone. We instantly have access to our galactic family, to our angels, to the big guy himself. It's a radio station, it's a frequency, and we are the broadcast system here to do the work. So it's all about alignment, what we're aligning our consciousness with. Okay. So, hi Patricia, it's my understanding when we make our transition, we should not go to the light. The light is a trap. Since we are the light, why would we go to the light? What's your thoughts? I don't believe it's a trap at all. I've seen that light, and I had my own near-death experience, and I saw that light, and it was the most amazing, euphoric feeling. And I don't think that I think that the people who say that honestly don't have a clue what they're talking about, because it's a frequency. And all I know is that I had never felt so loved and so comforted and so free. I felt like I was merging with that light. So, yes, we are the light. But when we go home, we get to merge with the biggest part of ourselves, with the rest of the light of God. And to me, that was one of the most euphoric, spiritually orgasmic feelings I had ever had in my life. So I don't know. I don't believe it's a trap at all. But I guess we'll see when we get there. Okay, Judy says, when you know you are the light, but some people make you feel like you are negative. Why? You are trying to wake them up and give them information and protect them. You know what, though? We can't anymore. We've tried. We've given the information, and we just got to sit back and let people come to their own level of realization. Because as much as we want something for someone else, they have to follow their divine plan. And some people, unfortunately, have to fall on their asses in order to learn and in order to grow themselves as a soul, as a human, and to make their own path. This is what they signed up for. So, no matter, even if we disagree with someone else's path, we have no right to try and change their path. We can help lead them on the path, we can help them on the path, but it's not up to us to direct their path. They got to do that. That's where free will comes in. And that should never be messed with, ever. There is major, major karmic consequences for messing with someone's free will or trying to manipulate someone into doing your will. That is not a good timeline when you get to the other side and relive that. So, yes, there will be consequences for people who have taken away the rights of other human beings on this planet. Thank you, Laura. Laura says, so those not evil, the grays. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Oh, I was going to talk about aliens for a second. Okay, so here's the deal with that. I was also asked to look into that stuff. And yes, that stuff is very real. But I will tell you, what I experienced did not feel good. It didn't feel like angels. It didn't feel like love. It felt very cold, like there was their own ulterior motive. It definitely didn't feel like they had humanity's well-being as their priority. So it's not something that I would willingly want to experience, is anything to do with aliens. I had my own experience this past summer, and yeah, it's just a realm that isn't my dimension. So, yeah. Okay. Okay. Vanessa said, I'm still traumatized by an entity that grabbed my ankles and pulled me down my bed over 20 years ago. So that's why it's important to say your prayers of protection. It really is. And and to spread that light throughout your room and throughout your home. Spread it as high as you can and as much as you can, because those lower entities won't even touch you or come near you, because it's almost like you're not a part of their reality. They're only going to go after what they can sense, if that makes sense. So if you're not on their wavelength, they can't even sense your presence. So it's like living in two different realities, even though you're in the same space. Um, so yeah, bring on your light, bring in your angels, and ask God to guard, guide, and protect you. And you won't have to worry about lower dimensional entities bothering you anymore. So anyways, I've taken up a lot of your time, and I just want to say thank you so much for joining me here impromptu tonight. Um, Definitely spur of the moment. I felt inspired because I just needed to mention, you guys, I know you can feel it. There's a massive spiritual war that's happening out there. So, the greatest thing that you can do is guard your consciousness, be at one with peace, find it, and stay in your state of peace. So I thank you guys so much for joining me. And my favorite number is up on the screen, 111. So it's my cue to end it there. God bless you guys. Merry Christmas. And I'll be back on. I'll be doing more online meditations and stuff. So check out my channel, like and subscribe if you haven't already. Bye, guys. Have a great night.